You are now listening to Cryptid Cocktail Party. Creatures, let's meet for a drink. It's a treat. Join us in the fight. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail Party.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I am your host, Dave, joined once again by my wonderful co-host, Sarge. How's it going, Sarge?
Holy shit, I missed you. Never let me take vacation again.
Well, how was it? Did you have a good time at least?
Yeah, I had a blast. I was up in New Hampshire, land of cheap cigarettes and alcohol outlets, state-run alcohol dispensaries.
Yeah, right on all the major highways leading in and out of the state.
Yeah, just please buy our alcohol. They got a death grip on the sale of it. And I believe you can only buy beer and wine from private places. You have to buy alcohol direct from the state.
Yeah, well, liquor you can buy beer and wine pretty much anywhere. It's just hard liquor.
Yeah.
You have to get from a sanctioned state-run supply store.
And I'm blown away at the amount of discount cigarette stores you can find up there.
Oh yeah, dude. If New Hampshire loves two things. It's cigarettes and booze. But I mean, hey, it gets cold.
That's right.
What else are you gonna do?
And like the third thing you guys seem to really enjoy is the concept of a general store, a place where you can buy a pickle and a revolver in the same building.
Yeah. I mean, do you not have those in Massachusetts?
We do, but New Hampshire seems to have most of them.
Yeah, that's fair. We like to keep things simple, rustic.
I got no problem with it.
Back when America was great.
You know it's a good general store when you can walk in and find cheese that is 12 years old on purpose. It wasn't like accidentally left there in a barrel, an old wooden barrel that you can just reach in and grab a pickle out of.
Oh yeah, dude. Barrel pickles are always the best too. You can't go wrong with the good
They are
old
the best.
barrel pickle. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, man. I'm glad. I mean, I
loved it. I love New Hampshire. It's one of my favorite places.
Awesome. Yeah, I am currently fighting for my life. I am sick as fuck right now.
I know.
You
don't sound yourself.
I feel like my head's gonna explode. I probably have COVID again. I work in a fucking petri
you got the
dish,
sniffles a little bit.
Yeah. If I sneeze, I'm not gonna edit it out, but I will just bleep it out because I think that's way funnier.
What you should do is instead of bleeping it out, you should insert a car horn.
Like an old timey like awooga one.
Or like a clown horn. That'd be even better.
Oh, that could be good. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
We'll figure it out. All right, Sarge. Before we begin, I just want us to get real quick give a huge shout out to Chris Kalari from Scared All the Time and Brennan Storr from the Ghost Story guys for filling in for Sarge while he was gone. I appreciate it. I'm sure Sarge appreciates it as well. It was a huge help making sure that the show kept going in his absence. So thank you to them.
Yeah, thanks for covering for me, guys. I apologize.
For what?
For making them do my job for me.
No. They didn't mind. Hopefully they had a good time. All right, Sarge, are you ready to get into today's episode?
Fuck yeah, I am. Let's do this. I'm refreshed and ready.
So today we're going to be talking video games, something we both love and enjoy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I went to Fun Spot up in New Hampshire because of my love of video games, the largest arcade in the world.
One of the best. It's definitely, was it 4 stories?
No, it's like 3 stories, I think, and it's just full of every video game. Some video games you probably don't need to have there, but it's many video games.
That's valid. Well, as I'm sure you were aware, back in the early 80s, hell, even up to like the early 90s, arcades were like a huge deal. Like everyone went to arcades, kids, teens, adults. It was a huge cultural moment all across the country, in the world, really. It was a place for everyone to come
Yeah.
and have a good time. And for the most part, it was a place for kids to go and like stay out of trouble, like keep them off the streets. It's, if they're in the arcades, they're not running rampant in packs through the streets of whatever city you happen to be in.
Of course. Do you remember Dream Machine?
I do remember Dream Machine. I still have
like a chain of arcades.
I still have a Dream Machine token somewhere. There was a Dream Machine in the Fox Run Mall. I fucking loved that place.
There was a Dream Machine down the street within walking distance from my house up until about 6 months ago.
Really? That recently?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the only thing still thriving in a failed shopping mall that they just recently closed.
That is wild to me. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I feel like if you brought arcades back now, they would probably go do gangbusters. I feel like everyone's like nostalgia is really big right now. I feel like if you brought them back, like I think you might.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they did bring them back because you got like Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, but also now you have like barcades. Like I feel like barcades are huge right now. Like you got
right.
What is it, Barcadia National Park or whatever the fuck that one's called. There's Tokens in Dover, New Hampshire. They're everywhere. Tokens is more like pinball, I feel like, but that's still whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy though. There's arcade. I mean, if you go to Ware Beach up in New Hampshire, where I was on vacation, there are 3 arcades all within like maybe 100 feet of each other.
Yeah, arcades were huge. I mean, like I said, they're not as big as they were now because
right.
We have fucking Xbox and PS5s, but
yeah, of course.
At the time, like arcades were a huge fucking deal.
Well, yeah, because you needed a giant cabinet to house your video game.
Yeah,
and so putting it in a huge retail space was the only way to get enough of them together to make it worth your while.
Yeah, but in 1981, a story started circulating out of Portland, Oregon, about an arcade cabinet that was unlike any of the others. Nestled among the familiar titles like Pac-Man, Galaga, Asteroids, a new cabinet showed up. Plain black, no logos, no flashy artwork, just a name across the title screen. The game, Polybius. Are you familiar with this story at all?
Yes, it's one of my favorites.
So this was actually suggested to us by our good friend Cam over at Narragansett, and I've actually wanted to do an episode on it. I wanted to do one like early on when I first started the show, but didn't really know if it would have been a good fit for the show. But I think now, since we've been covering more and more like conspiracy stuff, more strange bullshit, I think like this is the perfect time for us to do this episode. So you said it's one of your favorites. How familiar are you with this Polybius game?
So I am addicted to YouTube, and I love to watch just weird shit. Like, there's great content creators out there like Mr. Ballin and Nexpo, and they talk about all kinds of crazy stuff like this. And I think Nexpo might have done a thing on, is it Polybius or I don't know, Polybius, Polybus. I never actually pronounced it out of my own mouth.
No, I actually struggle. It's a Polybius is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard the story of it and I was very intrigued. I'm still somewhat intrigued by it because I love the idea of, well, let's get into it and then I'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. So like I said up top, and like we've been discussing pretty much this for the entire intro, is arcades in the early 80s were like neon churches for kids back then. The air reeked of cigarette smoke and body odor, the floor stuck to your shoes, and every corner glowed with the games that we all know and love today. Like I said, you got Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong. But in 1981, a new game hit the arcades across Portland, Oregon, and the surrounding suburbs. It didn't look like the other cabinets. There was no cartoon art on the cabinet, no brand logo, just a plain black box with the title screen glowing a strange word, Polybius. Now, the kids who played it said the game was unlike anything else, and not like in a good way. The game was like a dizzying mess of pulsating geometric shapes, flashing lights, and puzzle-like mechanics mixed with like breakneck action. It was like a really fast game.
Almost like Space Invaders, right?
Yeah, but it didn't sound fun. It was more addictive to the point of obsession. Like you'd pump in quarters not because you wanted to beat your friend's score, but because you just couldn't stop yourself from playing it. Kind of like it's like Tetris. I feel like for me that's my version of it.
I recall coming out of my bedroom one night and seeing my parents playing Tetris at like midnight.
And they would tell you that it was rotting your brain just so they could get you off of it.
Right. Exactly. See, I had the 2-hour maximum on the video game consoles daily. They did not.
Mm-hmm. But not long after this fucking mind-numbing game showed up into the arcades, some side effects started to occur. Players started reporting brutal migraines, nausea that wouldn't go away, insomnia so bad that some kids said they stayed awake for days. Others described terrifying hallucinations like shadow figures out of the corner of their eye, distorted voices whispering over the hum of the arcade, and nightmares that left them drenched in sweat. Some even reported memory loss, forgetting their own names or not remembering how to get home after playing. And then things got a bit darker with the reports. Some of the kids started suffering from seizures, breakdowns, even suicide attempts started cropping up in the weeks following Polybius showing up in Portland. So not great.
These are all side effects of Four Loko too, though.
But none of that kept the kids away. Like the game, like the pull of the game was too strong for them. Then, just to add some more high strangeness to the mix, the men in black started showing up to the arcades. Strangers in suits who didn't look like cops, but they didn't look like gamers either. They'd show up not to empty quarters from the coin box, but to pull the cabinet open and extract something from inside, like notes on high scores, gameplay logs. Like they were there not to collect the cash from the machine, but data from the machine.
Right.
And they came back regularly, like every week or two, like they were on a schedule. Some arcade owners even swore that the cabinets rebooted on their own or powered up without anyone touching them, as if they were being controlled remotely.
This makes me think of The Last Starfighter. Do you remember that movie?
Kinda, yeah.
It was a kid playing, he played this video game and he absolutely loved it. And it turned out it was like an alien federation recruiting him to be to fly starfighters in space.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
That's also kind of like, what was that? Ender's Game?
Yep.
Where they think they're playing a video game, but really they're fucking just out there killing everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a popular trope because I think the Robin Williams movie Toys also used that briefly.
Did it? I don't really remember that movie. You know what's weird is I've seen that movie, couldn't tell you anything about it.
The movie's mostly a fever dream. Like none of it makes any sense. I watched it and remember hating most of it, even though I loved Robin Williams and Joan Cusack. It was just a fucking, literally a fever dream.
Yeah, that sounds about
It's like the last movie that was made with like 1980s cocaine.
Oh, the good stuff.
Yeah. The stuff that brought us Alf and Small Wonder.
All right. And then there's a story of Bobby Feldstein. He claims that after a late night session of Polybius as a teenager, he blacked out. The next thing he remembers is waking up in the Tillamook State Forest, not prison, State Forest, 60 miles from Portland, with only fragments of memory. Those memories being marched through underground tunnels with strange men in suits at his side.
I feel like this would have been a way more fun story if he woke up in a prison, to be honest.
It would have been, sure. Now, the thing about this, though, is that Portland does have tunnels underneath it, the Shanghai tunnels, where men were allegedly kidnapped and smuggled onto ships. So the setting made his story like just a little more unsettling. And today, Feldstein still talks about it, even running Polybius walking tours of Portland to share what he says happened to him.
Really? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would love to go on one of those tours. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, Polybius was gone. Within a month, maybe two, the machines vanished overnight. There was no official records. There was no photos of this thing. There was no ROMs. The only thing anyone had to go on as to like the origins of Polybius was a strange company name linked to the game, and that is Cinesolution, which I probably horribly pronounced that, but when translated from German to English, it means sensory deletion.
Oh, okay.
Not a great name for a company, but it is what it is.
I thought it was like a portmanteau of like synergy in solution.
No, although that does seem like that seems like you would see that for a commercial for a company where you're not quite sure what it does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if you're watching like a business channel.
Yeah, it just flashes random words like synergy, solutions. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think it's pronounced Cinesolution. Sure, I don't know. They're spending too much time on that.
Cinesolution.
But that right there was enough to fuel the conspiracy theories. You know, maybe it was a CIA experiment, part of MK Ultra's Long Shadow, testing subliminal messages to arcade games. Or maybe it was a recruitment program using the flashing chaos to pick out potential fighter pilots, like you said, like Ender's Game or whatever that movie was that you said that I'd never seen.
Or Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Last Starfighter. Louis Gossett Jr. plays an alien. Great movie.
Or maybe it was just a data harvesting machine, tracking psychological responses under the guise of a video game. Whatever the truth, the theory stuck, and Polybius became the stuff of like a whispered legend. But here's the reality, Sarge. Polybius never existed, at least not in 1981.
No! Fuck!
There's zero evidence.
You got me again, internet!
Yeah, the internet tends to do that to people. But like I said, there's zero evidence. There's no arcade distributor logs, no first-hand accounts from the time, no pictures of the thing. The name Polybius doesn't even show up anywhere until the late 1990s when an anonymous post appeared on the arcade collector site coinop.org. And it's that forum post where we get pretty much all the information we have on the game and the legend itself. The Portland release, the kids getting sick, the men in black. And from there, the story spread to retro gaming forums, Usenet threads, and eventually into the pages of GamePro in 2003. That's when Polybius jumped from like obscure rumor mill shit to a mainstream urban legend. And it was the perfect blueprint for this myth to really take off. And the reason why it felt kind of real at the time was because, as is true with any good urban legend, a few real things actually happened in Portland in 1981.
Oh.
In November, a kid collapsed from a migraine after a long Tempest session. Another teenager got sick after playing Asteroids for 28 hours straight because no shit. But also, but also around this time, the FBI raided arcades in Portland. Agents in plain clothes were looking for machines rigged for illegal gambling. So government agents really did hang around arcades, watching and even writing down high scores. So you combine sick kids with government suits in arcades, and it's easy to see how rumors of a quote-unquote dangerous new game under surveillance could snowball into the story that it is today.
That's fair.
But as for the fake company Cinesolution, this seems to have been invented in the 90s. Researchers traced it back to a German retro computing hobbyist with the handle Cyber Yogi, a guy known for creating elaborate hoaxes about quote-unquote lost games. He never admitted to it, but his fingerprints are pretty much all over the early Polybius lore.
Okay.
Then, in 2006, a man using the handle Stephen Roach claimed online that he worked on Polybius. He said the game was pulled after a kid had a seizure and that the company behind it disbanded shortly after.
And then that kid who had a seizure went on to join the Goonies.
It's like
famous Oregon crew.
As which one?
Chunk.
Oh,
naturally.
No, it sounded plausible until people realized that he offered zero proof, and coinop.org itself labeled him a fraud, which is pretty funny.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Why?
Because, I mean, I want it to be real. This is great.
It is pretty good, but unfortunately, it's not. Now, some years later,
it just wasn't meant to be.
Journalist Kat Despira even uncovered that a real Stephen Roach in Europe had ties to shady quote-unquote behavior modification programs for kids, which only made things creepier, but still didn't prove anything about Polybius or that the two were even the same person. Like the Stephen Roach who made the forum post could have just been using the shady Stephen Roach's name as an alias, which is more than likely the case, or they just have the same name, but who knows? It doesn't help the conspiracy theories at all. But still, even knowing the story is fake, like it doesn't die. Like Polybius has appeared on The Simpsons as a gag cabinet stamped with property of the U.S. government on it. It's been the subject of documentaries, YouTube deep dives, and even a fictionalized podcast series called The Polybius Conspiracy. Also, an indie developer named Jeff Minter, he released his own VR game called Polybius in 2017, deliberately leaning into the trippy visuals that the legend promised that the game had.
I'd actually heard that some retro gaming folks actually created their own fake Polybius game, and you played it through an emulator.
See, I would play the fuck out of that.
Me too. It was like a top-down scroller, like you were in a spaceship and you were going up. It was kind of a lot like Asteroids, honestly. But I fucking love stories like this. There were games that disappeared. So in the 1980s, with the release of home consoles, that's what kind of killed arcades for a lot of people. So there was like, tons of arcade games that just never went any further. And so I was actually following a Reddit thread about this one game that people were talking about. It's like a racing game. And all these people remembered playing it, but no one could find any record of it simply because the arcades all closed and no one really kept records of what games they had. And then somebody actually found a cabinet of this game in Australia, because for a while people actually thought it might have been like a Mandela effect situation where they remembered playing this game, but it was like another game entirely. And it turned out in a country club in Australia, they found this one cabinet of this game. And I guess it was like pretty normal racing game. But then if you crashed, like the sky got a little bit more cloudy the next time you raced. And then like every time you crashed, I guess it got worse and worse. And there was like really not graphic bloody, but like really,
That's just sounds
uncomfortable shit would happen after you crashed.
This sounds like a creepypasta that someone would write on like a forum somewhere. Like it doesn't sound like a real,
but it's real. It's a real video game. I just can't remember the name of it.
That's pretty rad. If you can remember it, let me know and I'll put it somewhere. I don't know. But
I'll look it up.
But it's like the stories like that, like, is one of the reasons why like this story kind of perpetuated the way it did. Like if you're saying like games just disappeared, who's to say that this game couldn't have existed? I mean, we know it didn't exist, but it helped perpetuate the myth, kind of.
Right.
And the reason why it endures today is that Polybius is the perfect myth. Like it taps into the paranoia of the 80s, government mind control, shadowy surveillance, the fear that new tech was warping the brains of our children. And it mixes in with like pure arcade nostalgia. It's sinister, but it's also fun to imagine. Like,
yeah, I was on board.
Yeah, like it's fun to imagine the idea that like somewhere out there in some dusty warehouse, there's still some black cabinet waiting to be plugged in. And who knows? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. There's who's to say? But anyway, so that's the story of Polybius. I'm very sick, so this is a shorter episode. I apologize, but hey, we're here.
That's right. You need to get your rest, but at least we got Polybius out of the way.
Yeah. So how you feeling so far? I mean, not so far. That's the end of the story. How you feeling? You got any things you want to elaborate on?
I love it. I love stuff like this. It makes me so happy. It taps into my childhood memories of going to Dream Machine up in North Conway and going to, Nantasket Beach where there used to be an arcade. I fucking love stories like this. You see the old creepy video games and you wonder like which ones were really popular back in the day and which ones people just ignored.
Yeah.
So this hits all the spots for me.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. It does for me too. My dad is really big into like arcade cabinets and stuff like that. And for a while he was buying and fixing up and then like reselling old arcade cabinets. So in my house growing up, we had Streets of Rage 2, Bad Dudes. We had Pac-Man. Like all those games were just in my house at all times. So it was like super cool.
That's awesome.
So this for me definitely is a fun story. I didn't hear about this until, obviously much later after that. I probably should have hit my dad up, been like, hey, did you ever hear about this? And been like, do you know anything about this fucking video game cabinet that's cursed or whatever the fuck? But yeah, no, it was a fun one. Well,
I think I even remember there being like a TV show that it was like a kind of like a serialized TV show, kind of like Black Mirror, but when I was younger in the 90s. I think I remember there being like a video game story where it was like back in the 80s and it was like a video game that like made people go crazy.
It probably was. But
it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Who knows? I'm out of breath. Fuck. I'm done.
All right. Let's wrap it up so you can breathe.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to plug or say to the audience before I say my usual spiel?
Find me on social media, Sarge the Destroyer. I'm all over. You just Google Sarge the Destroyer. I'm the only one who uses that name.
All right. And if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps get the show out there. And yeah, I think that's it. And with that out of the way, Sarge, for the first time in 2 weeks, do you want to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
Of course I do. Audience, goodbye, and I love you.
Cryptid Cocktail Party! Cryptid Cocktail